So we're looking today at the gradient of a slope. So essentially, the gradient is the steepness of a line. Okay, so we actually use the letter m to represent the gradient. So our gradient is equal to rise over run. So what that means is how vertical the line is going over how far horizontal the line is. Now we measure gradient from left to right. So when the line slopes upwards from left to right, that line has a positive gradient. If the line slopes downwards from left to right, that line has a negative gradient. Our gradient can be positive or negative, as mentioned before, but it can also have a value of 0, or it can actually be undefined. So the gradient of a line is undefined for a vertical line. Because the run of the line is 0, we can't actually divide by the run, so it has no gradient. Then if we want to find the gradient of a line from a pair of points where we don't actually have the diagram in front of us, we can find the rise over run by looking at the difference in y values over the difference in x values. And look, there's actually a formula we can use for that. It's written as m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now, don't get confused by the y2, y1, etc. It simply means the second value take away the first value. Putting all this into practice now, we're going to have a look at some examples. So we're being asked to find the gradient of the line below. Now you can see just looking at that line that has a positive gradient. So because it slopes upwards from left to right. So if we look at the rise of that line, it goes 6 high, and then making a right angled triangle out of the line, we go 3 across. It has a run of 3. So we can write that as m is equal to 6 over 3, which of course is equal to a gradient of 2. And another example we've got here, we're being asked to find the gradient of the line joining the points A, 3, 4 and B, 5, 6. So we don't have a diagram here, but we can work just with our points. So we want to find the difference in our y values. Now, it doesn't matter which y value you take first. You can take either. However, whichever y value you take first, you must take the x value from that same point. So I'm going to choose 6 first, just because it's the bigger number. So if I'm taking my y value of 6, I'm going to subtract 4, and I'll put that over 5 minus 3, because of course I chose 6, I have to choose 5 as my first point as well. So 6 minus 4 obviously is 2, 5 minus 3 is 2, 2 over 2 is 1. That line has a gradient of 1.